Welcome back to episode 6 of Bag, beating all Game Boy Advance games. Each game is randomly selected, so I never know which game I'm going to be forced to play next. But without further ado, let's get into today's game. Welcome to what may be the shortest video ever on this channel. Today, we are playing ESPN Winter X-Games Snowboarding 2002. I know what you're probably thinking. That sounds like a great game. Are you done thinking? You're gonna have to stay to the end of this video to see what my rating is, but just as a little spoiler, All Game gave this a 1.5 out of 5 stars, and Famitsu, I'm probably butchering that name, gave it a 19 out of 40, and all of the other well-known publications just straight up refused to rate this game. So starting off the game, we have Super Pipe, Snowboarder X, and Big Air. Honestly, the only thing that they seem to put time into is this character selection screen, which has the lucky number 13 characters to choose from. I don't know if you unlock someone that goes into the 14th slot, or if they intentionally left that blank, I have no idea, but that's what we're dealing with. So being extremely ignorant and not knowing any of these people, I decided to go with Victoria, who is representing Canada. I also really like her black goggles, so let's get into the... who's that? What do I do? What are the controls? That jumps. That does nothing. That does nothing. That does nothing. So after having a firm grasp on all the controls, I play the best damn snowboarding of my life. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, I don't know what to do. What do I do? Hey look, I never claimed to be good at snowboarding to begin with. My best is still your worst. Okay. I don't understand the controls. There's just jump and there's move, but somehow I did that bad. So I decided to give it another shot. I learned how to do a grab, kind of, except I couldn't really replicate it because the controls are so horrible. So I eventually just failed this, gave up, and went to the next game. So I moved on to Snowboarder X, which you can see here it says Course 1, which at least gives me hope that there's multiple courses and a little bit of guidance on what to actually do in the game. So the Snowboarder X actually turned out to be a slalom game where you have to weave in and out between the different poles. There's this arrow at the bottom of the screen that tells you where the position of the next pole is going to be. So you essentially just spend the whole game looking down at that arrow and then just trying to aim your character towards it. If you end up missing any of the gates, it's an automatic fail, except the game doesn't actually fail you. You go to the end, and then it tells you that you failed. So essentially, if you end up missing a gate, it's just better to restart so you don't waste your time. Eventually, if you make it to the bottom of the time limit and you don't miss a single gate, you are able to try to next level. I don't know if that's the proper English, but that sounds very strange to say try to next level. Moving on to the second course, it is almost the exact same as the first course, except it introduces trees as an obstacle, as well as these jumps that it sort of forces you to go off of. The main issue with the jumps is that once you're in the air, you can't control yourself, so you have to make sure you hit them at the proper angle to be able to align yourself to the next gate. This game uses that tactic to kind of screw you out of getting to the next gate, so you have to be aware of where the jumps are and how you are hitting them. After being bamboozled a couple times by horribly placed jumps, we move on to Course 3. Or, excuse me, we try to Course 3. Course 3 is nearly identical to Course 2 and Course 1, except now we have a new obstacle in the way. I believe they're supposed to be sort of rocks that don't have full snow coverage, so if you hit them, it slows you down. Which is where the time limit in the top right corner sort of comes into play for the first time, because now you actually have something that can slow you down and make it so you can't actually beat it in that time limit. But those obstacles were no sweat off our hairy back, so now we try to Course 4. So I began Course 4 like normal. I missed one of the gates, and let me just be clear, if you're squeamish, you should look away. I opened the pause menu to click restart, and I clicked back to main menu. Oh, I pressed the wrong damn button and I'm at the freaking beginning. The one thing that's worse than a bad game is having to replay a bad game. And I feel like that just kind of encapsulates most Game Boy Advance games. I then had a few more words of wisdom. This game is just so boring. How many I wish that there was like a page that show you the statistics on every game, Game Boy game, or just every game in general, and how many copies they've made, or how many copies they sold. I just feel like this one probably didn't sell that many copies. And the audio is just so repetitive. There is a little bit of irony in the fact that I stuttered while saying that. But either way, we're back on course 4, and it's almost identical to the rest of them. The only real difference is that there are more jumps, more obstacles to avoid, and way more poles or gates to go through. And course 5 is the exact same. If I didn't even tell you, you'd probably think I was still on course 4. But see, the number in the top left corner did change to a 5. After this super duper epic jump, we finished, and that is the end of Snowboarder X. We completed all 5 courses. So now that I have a little bit more of an understanding of how this game works, I decided to go back and try the super pipe. I'm going to fast forward this part so you can see my entire run and see how good I did. This is also where I should mention that this game was released in North America in 2002 and developed by Konami. Yep, you're thinking of the correct Konami. And the crowd goes... Wait, what? Okay, screw the crowd. Let's continue on. Let's go to Big Air. I heard that's where all the cool people hang out anyway. So what is Big Air? Well, if you blink, you may miss it. In this game mode, there are 3 big jumps. You hit them and you try to do tricks while you're in the air. While you're in the big air. So I come up to this first jump and I do the only trick I really know how to do. And I got 50 points. So why change a good thing? Do it again, 100 points. And we do it once more for 150p. I'm hearing good all around. What does the audience think? Oh, f you guys. Eventually, I learned that you can just combo a lot of tricks together and get a lot of points. Which is still not good enough. Feeling really down about all these boos and really frustrated and depressed, I decided to go out and just do what I wanted to do. I'm going to twirl and dance and make myself happy. What's the point of sitting here and doing all these fancy pants tricks and trying to impress the audience when they don't even like it? They don't even like me. They hate me. So for once, I'm going to put myself forward and I'm going to do something that I want to do. And they love it. So instead of playing this game how it's supposed to be played, just cheese it. And that's the end of the Big Air. It just says try again and go back to main menu. So now that I do know that you can get another outcome other than a boo, I decided to go back to the super pipe and show off my ballerina skills. After stunning the crowd with my ballerina ovals and ovals and ovals and ovals and ovals and ovals, we finish out the half pipe with a standing ovation. And that right there is the end of this game. And just before we move on to the wheel, let me give you my final thoughts of this game. I rate it a 1 out of 10. It is horrible. There's basically no game to be had here. The Super Pipe is basically an unlimited game, just kind of do ballerina twirls and you win it, and also the Big Air is the exact same way. The only real gameplay of this game is the Snowboarding X, and that is almost barely a game. Not to mention the music is so unbelievably repetitive in this entire game that it drove me nuts to the point where I unplugged my headphones. The weirdest thing to me is that ESPN is not in the title of this game or on the box art, and honestly not really anywhere except in a small text on the title screen. Yet if you look this up, it is known as ESPN Winter X-Games Snowboarding 2002. All I do know is this feels like an extremely huge cash grab to profit off of the fact that the actual Winter Games was coming up later that year. Part of me wants to say that this is a shovelware, but at the same time, I have a hard time believing that this even sold that many copies to begin with. At the end of the day, I'm just glad that this game somehow only took 30 minutes because I don't know if I could have taken much longer than that. So now let's move on to the wheel and let's spin for our next game. With all of that stupid snowboarding out of the way, I am so excited to spin and get... Oh, what the f***?